Welcome, everyone. This is Pilot Needles, and you're listening to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in LOTRO and here at LOTRO Players. And this week we have with us Terry Adwin.
Hi.
Ariadnes.
Hey, everybody.
And Sanswinda.
Hello.
And please welcome our guest for this week, Maven.
Hey, y'all.
From Ravenloft, we have Dracula.
You didn't lock the door again. Here I am again.
Oh, well. And please welcome back Carvette.
At your service.
And your families.
Yeah, it's been a moment since I've done that.
I like how Pinely just finished your tagline for you.
I know.
And please welcome this week, because this is a very special milestone. That is it. That's right. We have hit a power of 2. Episode 256.
What?
Okay.
You have to know pine leaf logic to understand that. I did not understand a word of what
Or
you
be a
said.
software
Another level of
coder.
nerddom.
Yeah.
2 raised to the 256 is...
Yeah, 2 to the 8th power is 256.
Yep.
And of course, it's also our 5-year anniversary.
Yay!
Woo-hoo!
Look, Mom, we're big kids now.
We're big kids now. And that means that we will be giving away prizes in the chat room during the show.
We will. We have a few things to give away, but more on that later.
Later, all right. And we have a few people in the chat room who I'm sure are really chafing at the bit to see what is going to be given away today. And there's also something about Monday.
Yes, we will talk about that later on too. But yeah, there's going to be a bunch of prizes going up on the LOTRO Players site. So you'll be able to go and enter to win a bunch of things. And once again, we're just going to tease it right now. I will tell you later exactly what we're going to give away, but it's some good stuff.
Then let's head into Bull Roar. And this is a 22.2 build number 4. Some release notes for this. And of course, this is all about pretty much class change stuff. A couple things listed under general, but pretty much class changes. And of course, for the burger, says trait double down now accurately advertises the provoke and diversion have a chance to provoke days. Whatever. Champion traits. Good defense, strong offense no longer provides AoE damage burst if the bubble is broken. What does that mean, Terry?
So one of the champion skills, which I don't actually remember off the top of my head because I'm in a social plan, not on my champion, it provides a morale boost and a bubble. And it used to, if the bubble was broken prematurely, it would do an AoE damage burst. And apparently they decided that I don't know why they made this change, because I don't know why they felt the need to make this change. Yeah, so now it no longer does the little damage burst if you break the bubble prematurely.
All right. And the Guardian seems to have gotten quite a number of changes. The question is, are they good or bad changes? Carv, how well do you know the Guardian?
Not well enough to comment on anything that's on Bull Roar right now.
Okay. Unfortunately, it sounds like we don't have any great experts on the guard. Let's see. Prey on the weak now procs additional damage when skills against target are slaying wound. Substantially increased general guardian instant skill damage. I'm sure substantially increasing damage is never something someone's going to argue with. Until you see the thing that balances out, I guess.
Oh, that's good. They put knockdown back on Brutal Charge. That was an awesome skill. I'm kind of bummed they took that off.
All right. Reduce base bleed duration on some bleeds. Well,
looks like they're trying to buff the Guardians some damage back up. That's good.
All right.
And say Guardian.
Hey, look who snuck in.
Hello.
We're looking at some
Hello
of the
there.
tweaks on the Boror Guardian build. It looks like they're actually adding some damage back.
Good.
Buffing the bleeds and the knockbacks and stuff.
I'm just happy that they put the stun back on Brutal Charge. It was the best thing about being a Guardian.
Yeah. That was one thing I did notice that I was like, ooh, that's awesome. I didn't know it was gone. It's been a while since I played my guard, but that is huge.
That
So
was
much fun.
in the first round of Bull Roar. They
Boo.
took it away, and then everyone's like, no!
Yeah,
And then
you rush up to something, knock it over, and then beat on it, and then when it gets back up, you spread the goodness.
Or run away. Yeah.
Yeah,
either one.
that works too.
Howdy, peeps, by the way.
Hello there.
Happy anniversary.
Welcome, Aerithert. Welcome to the show. I did not have a chance to introduce you when you at the start of the show.
It's all right. I'm a little bit late. Sorry.
Because he snuck in a little
I
late.
did.
Yeah, sneaky.
But that's okay. He came in while we were talking about Guardians, which is kind of an appropriate moment for him to show up.
All right. So do you have any comments about this week's changes?
I'm not particularly.
Or the changes in general, because we haven't had Guardian input, like, at all.
I haven't. I had to completely wipe my computer and reinstall everything from scratch. And honestly, Bull Roar hasn't made it back on. So I can't really speak from personal experience. Just from reading the patch notes and anecdotally from what other people are saying. I like complexity. I'm like Jamie in Mixed Up Files and Ms. Basiley Frankweiler. I like complexity for the sake of complexity sometimes. And I liked the bleed system that is admittedly super flawed. It needed fixing. But I like the complexity of it, the idea of spreading bleeds, removing it, and then spreading it back on. Like, that's just something extra to think about. I think they're making it a lot easier for newer people to pick up and to kind of close a gap between somebody who's newer to the class and somebody who's been playing it a long time, which right now there's a decent sized gap. Like, I've seen people play Guardians pretty dang badly. And it's like, oh, but I think this will solve some of that. That being said, I can't say I'm a huge fan because I like things to not be simplified just for the sake of simplicity sometimes. But I think the damage going up, if it does indeed go up, is a good thing, honestly, which it needed to happen. So if that happens, I'm cool with it in the end, so long as I can still do things. I think part of what I'm going to miss, though, is currently on a Guardian. Like, if you play Guardian on live, if you try to fight one thing, it doesn't go super great sometimes. But if you fight three of those same things, they die way faster.
What?
So, yeah, because of the way the bleed mechanic works and spreading it and refreshing it and stuff. So in Mordor, I was having a rough time, when I first got into it, like picking one thing at a time. I was like, wait a minute, I got to go back to my Guardian roots. I picked up 4 things and did just fine. So Guardian for me has always been about kind of pushing the limits of how many things can I try to kill at once without dying. And I think that's going to disappear from it because it's going to be suited to fewer targets, because the bleeds, there's only one AoE bleed, or one skill that applies an AoE bleed, and the rest is single target bleeds. So it's going to be a lot harder to do that. So it's going to change. It's going to be a different flavor, but ultimately Guardians are primarily tanks anyways, and that's kind of the direction they've been steering us in for a long time. So there's upsides, there's downsides. It's still a beautiful game.
Yeah, okay.
True.
Then let's head into the Hunter, and I can guess who's going to be our expert for the Hunter side. She's being very quiet right now.
Well, Maven could pop in here.
Oh, no. I have not gone on Bull Roar because I keep getting updates from you. So I'm just letting you do all the exploration. I'm just living vicariously through you, so,
So,
Wait. Does Sans have an opinion on the Hunter changes?
maybe.
Is this a thing?
I've heard a rumor, yes.
The good things from this build. The exsanguinate bleed that can pop in Blue Line after using Blood Arrow is now closer to the cooldown of Blood Arrow, so that's nice. And the damage from traps and explosive arrow now increases with your physical mastery, So
Ooh, that's
yeah.
nice.
So on Bull Roar,
Oh,
using
that's good for yellow liners.
using blue with a heavy yellow line traded into was actually kind of fun. So my green line hunter had some fun in Fusham Tomb to test this. Just blue line or blue and red? Let's just say the survival skills were like death traps. Anytime I tried to use them, I got killed. But yeah, comparing it with yellow was actually pretty fun. So we'll see what happens. And hopefully, like, the biggest problem wasn't the heals that they moved over to blue line from red line. Like, those you can at least interrupt if you decide that running is more in your interest than trying to heal a little bit. The problem really is Purge Poison, because once you use that, you are stuck in place until it finishes animating, no matter how much you decide that you would really rather have that wound or whatever on you and run away from the Ologs chasing you.
Well, I guess that means we just have to have our scholars make that many more pots for us.
Right, except my pots were on cooldown and I still had 2 more on me. And so I thought, oh, well, I can remove these real fast, and then the Ologs were both faster than I had anticipated because they kind of mowed through my traps, and yeah.
All right. So what is reduced upshot and barrage more significantly?
They don't hit as hard. They do less damage.
That sounds like to me something you do not like.
Well, actually, the bigger problem for me is that, especially if you apply light oil, you can't tell what tier barrage is on, and so it has what feels like a completely random cooldown. Because they changed the cooldown mechanic to be 2 seconds for barrage tier 1 or barrage tier 2, but you hit 15 seconds if you use a barrage tier 3, and if you can't see barrage tiering up, or you don't know to pay attention to it, it feels like a totally random whether or not you're going to have barrage or not.
Then it sounds like to me that should be bugged, and that you're not able to tell the tier when you're having oil on it.
It might be a bug.
I agree.
But, yeah, it's subtle enough without any oils, that I didn't notice until another hunter pointed it out to me earlier this year. So, yeah, that's the part that really, really annoys me, because they both, even with the decrease in damage on Upshot and Barrage, they're both dealing a lot of damage. So...
Well, that's a relief.
Yeah. No, they're still dealing damage. You just don't know when you can use Barrage if you're not paying super close attention, which in Fusham Tomb is hard to pay attention.
Is that something, out of curiosity, is that something where it's more beneficial to keep Barrage at a lower tier and fire it more often than it is to tier it all the way up to 3?
Well, it would be, except they changed the tiering mechanic so that it automatically tiers up every time you use it.
Oh, so it doesn't
so you can't
expire
even do
after
that.
a little bit?
Right. And so I used it
to expire, didn't it?
Right, and in theory it'll still expire, but I used it twice in one group of mobs in Fusham Tomb. I fought another group of mobs, moved to a third group of mobs, used it again, and hit the 15-second cooldown. So I don't know how long it's taking to tier back down, because those fights were fairly drawn out, and I was surprised that I wasn't being run over by more mobs by the time I ran away. So I'm not completely sure. And I'm also not sure that they've really thought through how this is going to affect hunters between the levels of about 6 and 100.
That's what I'm worried about, the lower tier, lower level.
Right, because Yellow Line has been, like, it's possible to solo in Yellow Line, but it feels really kind of clunky to me to have to set up every single fight precisely. I'd rather run in, pull something, and kite it around while I kill it, and maybe all its friends. But I don't know if that's going to be possible, because...
But you level in blue.
Well, yeah, I run blue.
Well, I mean, that's...
My hunters all run blue right now. And have since I started, just because of that ability to hit something and run away, even when I was doing less damage than Redline. But right now, with the way that they changed the cooldowns, like, the only shot I could consistently get off that didn't cost focus was Quick Shot. Barbed Arrow took way too long. The Swift Bow, the 3 shots, took way too long. So I don't know. We'll see. Right now it kind of feels like their main goal has been to kick Blue Line Hunters out of raids by giving Red Line their stuff. So we'll see what happens.
All right, then Lore Master. Ring of Fire is now a targeted skill and will only generate 1 Ring of Fire. Damage has been increased by about 25%, and it sounds like that the big reason for doing this was because the old way was causing too much lag.
Oh, I know, but it's so much fun.
Because
Gathering
of
up
work,
a
I
whole-
like the new one.
I'm gonna say gathering up of 3 or 4 targets and then dropping a ring of fire and watching them all explode into cindery ash is so much fun.
Well, I suppose there is that, but I presume that's a red line skill?
Presumably, you still drop the puddle. You just drop the puddle around a target instead of picking where the target goes.
Well, unless they've changed it since the last time I played my Lord Master, is you would target a critter, you would drop it, but it would hit everybody in the area. So, like, if you had 3 or 4 critters in that same area, it would drop a different ring of fire for every critter. So you would have 4 or 5 stacked on top of each other, and your screen would lag a little bit, but you'd watch this glorious inferno of death. And you'd feel like a real wizard for a few seconds.
Yeah. No, I think it's just a single puddle, but it still does damage to whatever happens. So it's going to be like a square.
Okay.
We'll
It's
see.
what I got from the patch notes. I don't know. I didn't make it on Blower this week.
Ancient Master Power Restore components has been removed from the skill. Enfeeble now increases potency of certain debuffs and in their opening movements instead of necessarily doubling them. Fixed various tooltips and power of knowledge, skills, and traits. Well, if there were problems with the tooltips, then fixing them is certainly no problem there. And to adjust for reduced Lore Master power generation, most monster and monster player power drain effects have been reduced substantially. So that means, does that mean then that the Leech Warden isn't going to be as annoying as it has been in the past? Because the Leech Warden, its
That's
power.
the sense that I got from the notes, yeah. And
Yeah.
also some of the power drain stuff that happens in Great Barrow.
Okay. All right, that's good. So I think that MP power drain effects being reduced, I'm sure, is going to be less. That's good to some to the community that's playing that's doing monster play. And that's pretty much it. Now, there is a anniversary event that is supposed to have its encore starting next week. And if that's the case, that means that this update 22.2 has to come out before then. So
Oh, that's a good point.
So that means they are currently at least tentatively scheduling to have the update at some point next week. Now, it's possible they've changed their mind on that, but then we'll also be hearing about a change in the encore for the anniversary event.
Or they may just go live with the quests and not worry about the rest of the changes.
That's always a possibility where they might have a scaled back version of 22.2 where it doesn't have all the changes, or maybe only a couple of the classes, the ones that are less controversial, if some of them are creating too much of a thing. We'll find out next week.
I'm not sure that there are any changes that are less controversial.
Okay, well, there is that. Well, we'll see if there's anything other than anniversary updates in the patch when it hits next week, assuming that they don't change schedules and stuff like that. And that is Bulwer. So let's head out into the beacon. And in our community spotlight, the Shire Fest will be taking place on Crick Hollow, June 22nd through 24th. And you could check the Beacon link to see what the full 27 band lineup and find out all about the musicians on Crit Hollow Music. 27 bands. That is quite a show. And also concerning bands, calling all bands on Langeville, the Weatherstock 10 band applications are now open till June 11th. And the Bearded Minstrel is back for a new episode of Things You May Have Missed, The Strongholds of the North. And Chickening Around is a LOTRO webcomic that is returned with new content and regular updates. Chickening Around. And the second annual Brandywine Summer Music Festival will be held on Saturday, June 9th in the Bree Festival Ground stage. And Material Middle Earth has posted a visual collection of great swords you can find in the game. And Lena Willowwood created a new video featuring the Brandywine River with tons of lore information included. You can watch the video at the link provided in the Beacon. And you also read about it, about the making of the video, also on another link there. So let's get into the Kin Hall. The Infamy kinship is a Brandywine-based kinship that has been around for over 7 years, but has been active for the last couple of years, but now is back in the game. They are rebuilding the kinship from the ground up and are looking for any and all who would like to join. They are a North American-based kinship that is welcoming players who are new to the game or longtime veterans. They are also looking for more members to be part of the raid group that is doing weekly raids. And of course, there is a link to their site in the Beacon. So let's head into the weekly comment. What is your pet's favorite snack?
Are these Lore Master pets or cosmetic pets?
I would presume that you could say either one.
I guess most Lore Master pets would probably say orc or goblin. I don't know which one tastes better.
No, there's Lore Master pet food that you can have your cooks make.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, but just because it's pet
But
food
I like her
doesn't
answer
make it
better.
favorite. Because, like, my dog has dog food, but that's not her favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Her favorite is literally anything she sees me eating.
I mean, you're eating it, right?
Yeah. I never give anything to her, but she lives in perpetual hope. So whatever your character is eating as like your current food, that's your pet's favorite food probably. Maybe.
Well, I suppose that is a possibility. Yeah, I was thinking, well, I have a character that goes around with a pet cosmetic snake, so I could just say anything that it can swallow. Of course, considering that's a snake.
Anything.
Yeah,
Well,
anything.
Considering Terry's favorite cosmetic pet is a swan knight, the comment about whatever happens to be her food is probably accurate. Because I would imagine that she doesn't carry like special rations around for the swan knight. He was also probably not any real use attempting to find snacks in Thranduil's Hall. So,
Out of curiosity, what do Oliphants eat? Because I have a little baby Oliphant. I have no clue what that would eat.
I would assume
Probably
yeah.
anything they want.
Mine has
well, the
not
grown-up one,
eaten.
sure.
Bacon.
Mine's not eaten my Daleman's crams, so I think you can probably pick something else as the favorite.
It's like I'm pretty sure that my lore master had a bog lurker that had a thing for socks. I really find socks on that character. It was weird.
Let's go into the fan site news. Fibro Jedi has released another episode of his Warren gameplay, We're episode 15, retaking Weathertop, the solo version of that instance. And Gamolio Dan continues his LOTRO Let's Play series with part 107, Parth Adwio. And Andan continues through their progression through Mordor in the latest video to The Hero of Gondor part 51. And Lowy7 finishes up quests in Orthrakar and moves on to Nan Amlog West and Anidir. And remember, and they put in a reminder that the anniversary encore is going to be from June 8th through 17th. So as of the publication of the Beacon, they're still planning that encore event. And the screenshot of the week is Triple Dragon Fireworks.
That's
It's a
awesome.
fantastic shot.
Ah.
Sometimes why?
I wonder if those were coordinated.
Carp.
Sorry. Even if they weren't coordinated, that's still pretty nice. I like it.
Did they set those off over Lake Town?
It looks like it.
That's what it looks like. I mean, I'm sure there are a number of
I
citizens
feel
of
like
Lake Town who are scared.
I feel like that's kind of a hashtag too soon moment.
I don't know. What point do you
It's 70 years, isn't it?
A dragon destroyed your town. It's going to always be too soon.
Well, I don't know. For the humans, it's probably fine. For the elves living nearby, it's probably definitely too soon because it's been like, what, 5 seconds?
I feel like everything's too soon for elves anyways.
There is that. Let's then head into the store sales for this week. And Terry, what's on sale this week?
Let's see. We've got 25% off select war seats, riding skills again. Yay! Select mounts and the movement speed buffs. Of course, you could always just get a pocket hunter. And free sample of the week is a skirmish soldier times skirmish soldier 5 times. What does that even mean? Skirmish
That's what I've been trying to figure
5 times
out.
1 with coupon code soldier.
That's landscape skirmish time.
Yeah, that's what it makes sense. It's probably a 5-pack.
Yeah, it's 5
5-pack.
hours.
5-pack would be quite a bit.
Yeah,
Well, the skirmish soldier is a very situationally useful item, though.
That's true.
I know, but 5 of them is
5 hours.
almost an entire is your max on there. I've got so many of them out of Hobbit presents. My main has them sitting in the bank because I can't click on them anymore because I've at the limit.
yeah. I kind of always forget that exists.
Oh, I can summon a pocket healer? Dude, yeah.
I feel like somewhere there's this Middle Earth pub, and that everybody in it's just like skirmish soldiers waiting to be summoned that have been neglected and forgotten. And they're like swapping stories.
Yeah.
Like, when was the last time you were summoned? It was like Mirkwood, you know.
Well, at least my soldiers get summoned for skirmishes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to be summoned by Pine
They
Leaf.
don't the landscape very much.
They would be more useful if we could summon them in those instances that they keep insisting are solo only.
Yes.
Oh, those.
like the Bjorning one in Mirkwood. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
like that one.
Or like
Yeah.
the end of Aggerknife. Yeah.
So instead of
Oh, yeah.
Or in the Dungeons of Nerband.
Instead of them complaining that they never get taken out, it's like they're just being like, "You never take me anywhere except these same 4 boring places."
I can just see it now.
You always take me to Dol Guldur.
There's going to be an abandoned
What I would
therapy
do for some sunshine.
For skirmish soldiers.
Let's head into our site news and actually, I think we may have a giveaway first. Drac.
We do. This is for the live audience in the chat room. It's going to be a 2 free giveaway. You're going to get a pack. You're going to get a 100 LOTRO point code and also a Tundra Cub. So
Ooh.
if you want the Tundra Cub and the 100-point LOTRO code, all you have to do in the chat, put in
Wait. Let me go over to. Let me log into chat.
Wait a second. We have
on.
to put it into.
Give me a second.
The
Wait, are we
question-
eligible for that?
That's a good question.
I'd say
Because we
no, we should
not.
be.
I'm going to say no. Unfortunately, LOTRO players, our past hosts, sorry guys, are not eligible for the prizes. So it's just everybody else in the chat room. So that means you have a good shot at winning them. If you want it, put 5 years in the chat right now. And I will randomly draw from the people that put 5 years in the chat room.
Does it have to be all spelled out? Can it be a
It doesn't
number?
matter how you put it. You can put FIVE or you can put the number 5, whatever. 5 years in the chat if you want to win that pack. And I will randomly draw, and we'll get the winner here in a second. We can go ahead and go on, and then I'll announce the winner before we go into the next giveaway.
And Frida-List reminded me of the thing that is always, of course, comes up whenever we have the skirmish soldier thing, of course. The skirmish soldier thing that is probably the free sample is that stupid one that allows you to summon them in combat. So, yes, getting 5 of them is fine. It's just that they're so worthless that...
Oh, yeah, because by the time I realize I've got any of those, I'm done killing things, and it's not combat, and I can summon my soldier again.
Yeah. So, yeah.
That would be more useful if it actually stayed up for longer, like if you could pop it before you got into combat, and then if you lose your soldier, you can resummon it in combat.
Right, because I think it's... Actually, maybe it's soldier 5 minutes or something like this, which case... do you remember how long it... I guess maybe it lasts for 5 minutes?
I think it's only like a 10-second thing.
Oh, a 10-second thing. Oh, yeah.
If I remember correctly.
Okay, 10 seconds.
I haven't
Yeah.
gotten one in a while.
You're right. That's one of the reasons why. So, because you have to go and find it and get and you'll be killed by the time you found the stupid thing, because who's going to keep that on their hot bars? So, yeah, I can understand. Yes, I agree, Fearless. And I think that's why I always excise that particular item from my brain and always forget about it every time it's the free sample, because I think the last time I also thought maybe it was the landscape one, of course. Now let's go to critters. And this time they head out to Saragost. Ooh.
Which is as nasty for the critters as it is for everybody else.
Well, I guess that should be no surprise. I mean, would you want to go into Saragost?
I have a couple times.
Well, okay, but you're there in order to try to clean it up, I presume.
Kill all the things.
Kill all the things, yes, and because it's certainly not a good place for a summer vacation.
No.
Can't even say the trees are quite lovely.
Okay, well, let's then head back to Drac. And Drac, do we have a winner yet?
We do. The winner this time around was, I'm just going to say CP, because I'm not going to even pretend to be able to pronounce what your name is. So CP, you won. You just need to shoot me an email at drac@lotroplayers.com, and I will email you the 2 codes that you need to enter in the in-game store to receive your prize. And let's do another giveaway before we go into the next section of the show. Same thing again. We're going to give the very same thing away. 1 100-point code and 1 Tundra Cub. If you want to win, just put in LOTRO this time. We'll mix it up. Just put LOTRO in the chat. Once again, I'll draw randomly, and we'll see if we get a winner here in a little bit.
Then let's head into our anniversary stuff, and we'll begin with for 5 years of LOTRO.
players.
5 years of LOTRO players. Yes.
LOTRO's been around a little longer.
Yeah,
That's an important distinction.
Just a little bit.
Good call there.
Okay, LOTRO's been around for 11 years if you don't count the beta phase. All right, 5 years of LOTRO players. And yeah.
What? Wow, Pineleaf is like, yay.
Yay.
Now, what I think is amazing, though, about Pineleaf is he is the only one that was here from the beginning of the site and the podcast both. He is the only original LOTRO player staffer, I guess we'll say, that is still around. So that is pretty amazing that you have been here all 5 years, Pineleaf.
All 5 years, all 256 episodes.
That's right.
Unless anybody might have missed due to unforeseen circumstances.
That does bring up the question. Have you missed a podcast yet, Pineleaf, at all?
I don't believe so.
That's amazing. So you've done 256 episodes, and you've
And
been...
he gets a perfect attendance award, too. Pineleaf's perfect presentation.
But yeah, the site, 5 years ago, the Players Alliance was formed. Anding is actually the person that originally formed it, and it was just LOTRO players for a long time. I think about 2 years, maybe. It was just LOTRO players, and then DDO players came about, and then we had Guild Wars players for a little while, and then now we have XP Quest as well. So the Players Alliance itself has been growing a little bit, but LOTRO players has steadfast for 5 years. And that is just thanks to all of you that do the show every week. You guys kind of picked up the torch when all the original people left, and then newer people that joined left. You guys were here, you stayed, and you make the show great every week. So I thank you for all the work you do to put the show on every week.
Here.
Yeah, thank you.
And for Gondor! And Barukaza!
First time in Minas Tirith.
Shame you couldn't see it in better days.
Exactly.
Is it sad that I know that and I'm not at Minas Tirith
It's
yet?
kind of awesome that you know that.
All right.
And you've never actually been to Minas Tirith.
I did once on Bull Roar. It was magical. Anyway, sorry.
It was magical.
It was.
It really
For
awesome.
level 56, if you're running around Minas Tirith, it was amazing. I jumped
I can
off the
imagine.
prow.
I
It was
haven't
great.
been there. Wait, no, I have been there. Never mind. I made it to Darren Carvet, I think.
Yes.
No,
Clearly,
I mean,
it was a memorable
I
experience.
wasn't
You
on
know what?
board.
No, I'll bet you I am still outside in the field of battle, nursing wounds, and I have been standing there for years. I have yet to log back in to make it into the city.
Arendis,
because I
didn't we had you
distinctly
on.
remember.
We had Arendis. We were
watching
trying to get
you.
Arendis to Asgiliath, I remember, on one of the girls' things.
Oh, that's right. So
Remember
I've been there
that?
twice. I've
Yeah.
been there twice.
I distinctly remember watching Carve do the Battle of Pelennor Fields, which you don't get to unless you've already been in Minas Tirith.
Okay, then yes, I've been to Minas Tirith.
Yeah, I remember because I pissed you off because I was like, "Oh, go ahead and do it. Go ahead and do it. Go ahead and do it." And
Yeah,
then
because you
Yeah,
were going
that's
to cut
right.
do
early.
this last
we're like,
last
"Just do this
quest,
last
and it
thing,"
put you
and then
right
you-
into the battle.
Yeah.
That's right.
So-
I remember it was a very dramatic reading.
So
Cool.
basically,
What's
what's
your
going to happen is the next time you do get into Minas Tirith, they're going to be like, "Is this your first time in Minas Tirith?" And you'll be like, maybe."
Probably. Yeah, I'll be like, I don't remember. That's right. Yes, I did do the obligatory Denethor off the prow. I did have the picnic with one of the hobbits. Name escapes me at the moment.
Pippin.
Yeah, okay, I've been there. Obviously, it wasn't nearly as magical for me. I'm ashamed.
Therefore, let's then take another look at, do we have a winner from the second giveaway track?
We do. The winner is F. Duddy. You won a 100-point code and a Tundra Cub. Once again, email me at Drac, and it's just DRAC at LOTROplayers.com. Drac at LOTROplayers.com, and I'll get your codes to you. It'll probably be after the show. I'm telling you that right now.
I'm giggling because Tired Dwarf in the chat says 5 years of LOTRO players and the Drax still doesn't have the red skeleton steed.
I saw that. That's awesome.
Poor drag.
That's
It'll probably.
Oh.
How much you want to bet that, like, okay, one day far off in the future, Drax like, okay, I'm gonna give it one last shot, and he gets it, and then the next day the game shuts down.
Yeah, exactly. That's it.
It'll be something like that.
You know what?
At this point-
He would have it by that point, though. That would be an achievement unlocked.
Yep.
At just the right time. Like, I can honestly say that in the limited time I've been playing LOTRO in the past couple of years, I've gotten a couple Steed boxes, and every time I get it, I look at the red skeleton Steed and I go, sorry, Drac, and I pick it up and go.
Yeah, but I suspect that Drag's probably gotten pick a Steed boxes and just has chosen not to pick the red skeleton Steed, so his legacy can live on.
Well,
That's probably out of spite at this point. Like, if he had
Exactly.
picked one, it doesn't even matter.
Give me the max. Hey, let's pick something else.
Red.
Oh, well. Let's head out into our favorite memories related to LOTRO and our show. Does anyone here have any favorite moments on the show? Let us begin with Corvette.
Oh my goodness. Favorite memories of the show has been the ridiculous discussions we've gotten into, Lord of the Rings related or gamer related, or rabbits that we've chased, advertisements that we've come up with. Loft L'Oreal comes to mind.
That was pretty classic. That
I mean,
that was great.
Every now and again I'll go, I'm on a goat, just because it's one of the ones. Things that the creativity of the group and the different groups over the years has been just a lot of fun. I still have somewhere in one of my Google Drives a Ice Ice Baby dwarven parody called Baruch Hazad that I haven't actually finished, but every now and again I'm like, all right, stop. Fellowship, wait and listen. Corvette is back with a brand new edition. Something new for me to grind nightly. Then you'll know that a Guardian's mighty. And then it kind of goes on from there. But the fact that I even still remember that speaks of all of the ridiculous things we've done over the years and fond memories.
All right, then let's then look at. See. Right, trying to.
It took 5 years for Pine Leaf to become speechless on the show.
The screen dropped. Or there was just
done that
like
a few times.
All right, yes. Very well. Let's then next try Ariandis.
Oh gosh. Well, I think one of my favorite memories just from before I started being on the show was all of the fun bloopers videos that came out. Just listening to all you guys have fun and joke around, and it was a great added experience for those of us who listened either live or after the fact. So that was really fun. I think when being on the show, I think it was just being a part of it. That sounds kind of lame, I guess, but I've enjoyed it.
All right. Draculetta.
It was kind of already brought up, but I think just the legacy of the Red Skeleton Steed. I have not been a part of this show for a while now, and I've kind of been away from LOTRO for a little bit because I've been concentrating on, basically running DDO players and running this site and the network. But I cannot tell you, at least once or twice a week, I will get a tweet of somebody will tweet me a picture. Look what I got out of a Pick-a-Steed box. I mean, and how long has it been? And it's just, I think the Red Skeleton Steed is just my favorite memory of the show. How that just became a thing, and it still lives on even when I'm not really a part of the show from day to day anymore. People still will tweet me pictures of their Red Skeleton Steeds, or they'll somebody, I forgot who it was, just a couple weeks ago tweeted me something. It was like a little toy horse, and it was red, and they're like, I'll paint bones on this for you. Is that close enough? You know, it's like,
Oh, that's funny.
yeah,
That's awesome.
it's just amazing. The like skeleton Steed lives on. So
Aerith there.
Oh man. Everything from hello dwarf ladies, look at your dwarf. Now back to me. That I probably could still have that memorized, but everything from the commercials to just hanging out, honestly, having something where every week it was, hey, it's time, and you get on and hang out with friends and you talk about a game based on a world you love. So it sounds somewhat sappy, but it just, kind of like Arinda said, it's the experience. It's I don't want to say it's a legacy, but it's kind of a legacy. Like it's something that I was a part of for a while, that I'm proud to have been a part of. People even though I haven't really had much of a chance to play too much LOTRO myself recently, for whatever reason, people still think that I know things about it. Like, you're like, what do you think about the Guardians? And I'm inside my brain, I'm like, I don't know. But it's because of this show, I feel like all of us really have had an impact and have helped a lot of people enjoy a game more, and have made people's lives a little happier. And between myself and Carve, our goal every week being to make people laugh and or pine leaf speechless. Didn't really care which one.
True.
It was good. It's really good. So kind of all of it together. It's hard to pick out anything in particular.
Maven.
God, I don't know. I've been trying to think what you guys have talked, and the commercials for me were always my favorite. Biodurance beard, and just all of those. But I mean, what I just have a memory of is just a lot of laughing. We still do giggle all the time. I can't think of anything. I mean, it's all good, but I guess the commercials. Those I miss those because those always were great. But I know they also took a lot of work to put together. So
Yeah. Sans Winda.
Well, the first things that made me laugh out loud listening to the show were the commercials. The first things that made me drop my mouth and almost drop the phone I was listening on was hearing my name mentioned in the weekly highlights. So,
Look, Mom, I'm on TV.
pretty much, yeah, like, wait, that made a highlight? Sweet.
All right. Terry?
Oh, where to start? Actually, one of my favorite moments before I even got on the show was the famous Draculetta. What?
Oh,
God, I
that's
forgot
right.
about that.
Missed that soundbite. And just the general craziness that is LOTRO players, because it's not just LOTRO players news, but I got into LOTRO players through LOTRO players adventures, and that was just its own ball of insanity.
That was something, all right.
That was fun.
It was, yeah. Well, and that's actually how I met Carve, was through adventures, because I mentioned this a couple weeks ago, probably not on the show. I think it was either before or after. There was the LOTRO Player Adventures group, which was Andang and Drac and Sithrath and Athelros and Pineleaf, and they were doing one thing, and then everybody else who wasn't on that call was led by basically Carve and I, after I guested on Adventures because I donated to Andang's Patreon. So I got on the show because I paid my way here.
Nice.
Through Carve, I met Maven and the Tolkien Professor, because that would never have happened if I hadn't met up with Carve at some
If you
point.
hadn't paid your way in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I hadn't, that was $8, like the best $8 I ever spent.
That's awesome. It was fun being the B team on the adventures because Terry had one and I guess we had one or two others that would show up every now and again. We're like, man, what are they doing? I'm gonna go here and pull this. Oh, okay, and then they would just follow. It was great.
So
Yeah, that show was
sort of
very unorganized.
Oh yeah, it was.
yeah. Well, I mean, you guys were unorganized. We actually were halfway organized, but trying to keep up with the not being organized. You have no idea how organized Carv was with the rest of us. He's like, okay, they're doing this, so we need to do this, 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 and this. And it still usually wound up in weird places, but probably some of those instances would have ended up a lot worse had we not been like the B team on another call trying to voice coordinate something else.
Yeah, it was always fun because Endang and Ethelros would just do these crazy pulls. And I remember thinking, what are they doing? And
I think they were in competition to like out crazy each other.
Yeah, and it was
I still
a
to
great.
this day think that was what was going on.
Pretty much,
Oh,
yeah.
that was part of it. But I think Ethelros paid me a great compliment last time we did one of these multiple guest anniversary shows. And he was like, I knew you could handle it. And I was like, see, that's what a tank needs to hear. I can handle it. Now
right.
I'd probably get everybody killed. But, back then I was on my game.
Anyway.
And of course, obviously the commercials, I don't even remember what it was. What was that commercial even for? That ladies, look at your elf. Now back to me. Now look at your elf.
Oh, jeez.
I don't even remember what that commercial was for, but I remember that being one of my favorites.
It was for some kind of dwarven body spray or something.
I think so.
Yeah.
Durin's Bathe. That's what it was.
It was Durin's
Durin's Bathe.
Durin's
That's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Durin's Bathe.
And then the craziness that was by Durin's Beard, because all of the dwarves at some point say as a soundbite snippet, "By Durin's Beard," and I could never tell if they were trying to curse by it or swear by it or get you to buy it. So, and then that commercial happened. So yeah, just the general craziness that still is LOTRO players, because from that came the whole Twitch thing, and then Girls of Middle Earth. Girls of Middle Earth would never have happened if not for this show, I don't think. And that every other Sunday is its own trying to herd cats. So
I found them all. I
found
the
them all?
scripts to all the commercials.
I had a feeling you guys had notes somewhere.
Oh, we did.
It's probably in the
We
drive.
have a long list of further ideas to develop.
I bet we do.
Dour Hand Depends.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah. Midgewater Magnet Flypaper.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are always welcome to come back every so often and just
Gonna say
talk
we'll have a chat after the show.
Yeah.
Now, as for my favorite moment, it had to be the fake commercial that turned real.
The Pine Leaf Countdown.
The Pine Leaf Countdown.
That's right.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
My mom was cooking steaks on the grill. She's like, set a timer for 5 minutes. So I pull up the Pine Leaf Countdown on my phone.
You did not.
I did too.
That's awesome.
Should we explain that, like, for people who haven't heard of this before? Is that still available for download?
I believe it is. I think it's still available through the Google Play App Store.
Yeah, I think it is.
Nothing else.
But it'll also be at the Clandestine Games website.
Yes.
That should be still reachable.
Checking on Google Play right now to see if it's still there.
Yeah, so Pine Leaf Countdown was the commercial that they joked about, that Brannick happened to be in the chat, and he's like, I could probably do that.
Yes.
And then it turned into this massive project that wound up way bigger than anybody actually expected. So if you've not ever used the Pine Leaf Countdown and it's still available, you should totally use it because it's awesome.
It is still on the Google Play Store, actually.
Yeah, it's Pine Leaf voicing the countdown, and then there's an animated Pine Leaf strolling back and forth across the screen.
Yes.
With little thought bubbles that are totally all things that you could that you can picture Pine Leaf saying.
Pine leaf isms, as it were.
Yeah, Pine Leaf isms.
Pine
Well,
Leaf ism.
many of them were actually suggested by Pine Leaf. And then my favorite feature of the countdown is the overcount function. Because if it counts back, it hasn't happened since we're under new person actually going live with the show. But back when Andang was the one going live with the show, he would go live fairly early, so people were hearing the countdown. At least the last 5, sometimes 10, 15 minutes of the countdown, we'd be live early. And there were a couple of occasions where we were running late, so Pine Leaf was counting over. And so the Pine Leaf countdown, when it counts over, the Pine Leaf voice gets progressively more irritated, and it goes up to about 30 minutes over. And when he says 30 minutes over, it's like seething with rage. So it's awesome. There have actually been occasions where I have put the countdown on for a short countdown just because I wanted to hear the count up. and just let it run. Because in between, while he's counting up, he throws in random other phrases like, "Are you still here? Hello?"
The funniest thing about Pine Leaf and the countdown is that was like an inside joke for the longest time. And then the whole countdown thing happens. But it's funny because he still does it to this day. And
He does.
My favorite part of Pine Leaf counting down is, I don't know if he does it so much on this show or not, but on DDO Players News, if we have a guest, like the guest and I will be talking before the show, and just in the background, all of a sudden you'll hear Pine Leaf, 5 minutes.
What's great is when Pine Leaf interrupts himself.
Yeah, exactly.
5 minutes. Keep going.
He like stops mid-sentence, 5 minutes, and then he continues his sentence.
He is
Yes,
committed.
yeah. Sometimes mid-word, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
And I usually say thank you, Pine Leaf, and I have been known to actually do that to the app too. Like he'll do the count in the app, and I'll be like, "Thank you, Pine Leaf." I know it's not really Pine Leaf, but it's just its habit by this point.
And on the podcast version and on the YouTube version of the show, there will be a little thing from Andang, who sent something in for us, and I unfortunately could not get it to work to where I could play it live tonight. So it'll just be a little bonus for the audio and YouTube version of the show, if you guys want to hear what Andang had to say about our 5 years and his favorite moment.
Hey everyone, Andang here. Sorry I can't make it there today, but I'm definitely there in spirit. Man, it is amazing that LOTRO Players has made it to 5 years. That is such a huge milestone, especially for a LOTRO fan site this far into the game. It's just awesome to see how well this site has done, and just that it continues to grow. We started out with just 4 people. 4 people, and we've grown into just this giant network. With, over the years, we've had over 60 people just involved in the website in some way or another, and even more people contributing to the podcast and all sorts of things. So a big thanks to all of you over the years who have had any hand at all in LOTRO Players. It would not be what it is today without you guys, so a huge thanks to all of you. A special thanks to Draculetta for keeping the network going. You are awesome, buddy, and just have been able to make everything run so smoothly. So thank you so much, Drac, for taking over. And also a special thanks to Pine Leaf, who was there at the start and has continued to be there every step of the way, and, is still the host of LOTRO Players News after all these years. Pine Leaf, thank you so much for keeping things going. You do such a great job each and every week, and there's just no other host out there that's like you. You are such an original trailblazer. Great job, Pine Leaf, and keep up the good work. Also, a special thanks to the one who edits this show. You do such an amazing job, and I know how much work goes into that every single week, and it is such a marathon. And thank you so much for keeping the show going. That's just fantastic. And can't wait to see another 5 years for LOTRO players. I'm really looking forward to that. Drac, I hope that you get the red painted skeleton steed at some point. And Pineleaf, I hope I can pay you back for Matt Heathertoes, because I'm still thinking of ways. I still haven't thought of a good way to get you back for that. And longtime listeners will know what I'm talking about. And speaking of just moments from the past, here are some of my favorite moments from over the years. But before I go, thank you everyone so much once again, and I'll see you again real soon, and hopefully I'll be there for episode 300. But till then, thank you all so much.
Pineleaf.
Yes.
I think that there might be a poem.
Oh, yes, there is a rumor that there is a poem here. Very well. And it is called Orc.
With a K.
Yes, with a K, but I'm not going to say with a K every time I say orc in this book.
There's an orc with a K on my phone.
There is an orc on my fork. Is a bit of a dork, called Mork from York. Feeds off pork and cork. All works like a roar roark. That's orc on my fork. Working, forking pork. No pokem and no pokem pork. Porque. That's Spanish. Porque. Porque? No say. Work. Cork. That orc on my fork. Forked tongue, orc twisted. Torqued, norking, sork, and zork. Corky, orky, orky, torque. Forking mad, that orc. On my fork.
Oh, that was awesome.
Come to swearing up.
Oh, I'm literally crying from laughing so hard. That was almost Dr. Seuss.
That was awesome. More Sue. Please give us more.
Oh, no.
I lost it at forking.
Oh, boy.
That was great.
I heard a rumor that you have an origin story to read.
Yes, I enjoyed the origin stories that were submitted the last couple of weeks, but I couldn't believe that no one had done one on Pineleaf yet. And I felt obligated, given my guest appearance on the podcast, to create one which I call an ode to Pineleaf. If you have your permission to read it, I promise the profanity is really low. No, it's okay. An ode to Pineleaf, and with a nod to Clement Seymour for his stylings. 'Twas the night before the podcast, when all through the server not a fellow was stirring, at least not with much fervor. The World Channel lay dormant, without the usual crap, and even the Morse creeps seemed to be taking a nap. The raiders were nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of first-stagers danced in their heads. And I, with my archer named Legolas, had just settled down to do the icy crevasse. When out on Twitch there arose such a clatter, I sprang from my kin house to see what was the matter. Away to the chat window I flew like a flash, and nearly got killed by mobs that were trash. The moon on the breast of the new fallen snow gave the luster of midday to the lieutenants below, when what to my wondering eye should appear but a miniature warden and his sharp pointy spear. With a little old hobbit so lively and fine, I knew in a moment he had needles of pine. More abundant than LIs of his alts I had heard, and on so many servers it was almost absurd. On Landrel, Brandywine, and Gladden was he, Arkenstone, Eldar, you get the ID. With so many tunes it was almost a mania. I've heard he built his own server and called it Wardania. A podcast host was he of no little skill, who was forced to read poetry each week against his will, and rein in the antics of cohorts galore to keep things on track and also keep score. A sound mind he had of metrics and data, and he'd been playing LOTRO almost since beta. He knew everything you could know about the game, and if he was ever wrong, it was you who felt shame. The stump of a pipe he held tight in his teeth, and the smoke encircled his head like a wreath. He had a broad face and round little cheeks, and a rather high-pitched laugh that was somewhat unique. He was hairy and short, a right jolly old took. though a filth shepherd had covered him with gobbledygook. He lifted a hope token high over his head, which gave me to know I had nothing to dread. He said, "Very well," and went straight to his work. Tanked all the encounters, then turned with a jerk. He counted his marks, which took quite a while. It seems all his skirmishing had made quite a pile. He sprang to his war steed, ran into the wall, backed up, moved sideways, and bid farewell to all. But I heard him exclaim, and he said it quite constantly, "I hope you remember to skirmish responsibly."
It's amazing.
That was
the best thing I've ever heard.
That was genius. Oh,
That was amazing.
oh, my face hurts.
Hearing Pine Leaf's laugh makes it all worthwhile.
Great.
Oh, man.
All right.
We have a winner.
All right.
Stop
Thank
now.
you. And of course, Tim sent us our weekly origin story. And Etheros, what's this about?
You can pass it on if you want it, though.
I think this is about what Andang is about to tell you.
So, Tim sent in possibly the best origin story we've gotten so far. He says, "Here's one for Ethelros. It is a quick little one. I don't know about that. It takes up like over a page. But it's a quick little one, but I hope it's to your liking. Tim." Well, Tim, I can tell you it's to my liking, and hopefully it will be to the listeners as well. So here we go with Tim's origin story. Being the son of circus clowns is not very easy. You know it's good when it starts out that way. But the son of Ethel and Ross did the best he could with it. They loved their son so much that they decided to combine their names and named him Ethel after his mother, and Ross, short for Ross with 2 S's, after his father. Being clowns, they were only physically funny, but could not hold a conversation for the life of them. They moved from town to town, showing off their talents at the Three-Ring Circus. Their crowd-pleasing grand finale was fighting the fire and saving the damsel in distress way up atop a tall building. Ethelros had to learn to be the fire captain and climb, or as they called it, level the ladder to rescue the damsel in distress. No matter how hard he tried, as a captain, he could not level. I thought I'd make it through without laughing, dang it. He decided to scrub the captain and move on to another job. But what? After setting up the circus in a town which will not be named, for fear of retribution, there was a real actual fire very close to the circus. The only chance to save the building was if the clowns of the circus could put out the fire. They took it as a sign to be heroes. The clowns started to leave, but Ross told Ethelros to stay behind. He did not know how to level and was left behind. Oh my gosh. They all left to fight the fire, but they never made it. The next morning, Ethelros read the devastating newspaper. The headline read, 200 clowns injured when car hit lamp. Ethelros was crushed, probably like the clowns. He vowed to avenge his parents against that infamous lamp. Through the week he gathered an unlikely fellowship to battle the lamp. The sleepy man, bored I'm here. The grim bearded lady, Grimly. The man who had to be carried in a wagon because he had no legs, legless. The magician, Randolph. And there were 4 little ones. The African one, a Frodo. The jerk, Samwise guy. The grumpy one, Not So Merry. And Pippin. As the week ended, they told the ringmaster they were going to do battle with the lamp. They even gave themselves a name. Fellowship to Attack Infamous Lamp. Or fail. The ringmaster presided over the departure. The Fellowship is setting out on a quest to destroy the lamp, which injured so many of our clowns. From the side, Ethel and Ross were sitting drinking tea. Really, darling, we're fine. The ringmaster continued. Those who will travel with him, no oath nor bound is laid to go further than you will. The mother chimed in. Really, we're quite fine. Have a spot of tea.
May you hold to your purpose, and may the blessings of bearded ladies, legless people, and all the freak folk go with you. The father interrupted. How about a crumpet of jelly? Together, the 9 companions marched on the lamp. As they approached it, they could smell the foul stench of battle approaching. They charged on the lamp, running faster than they had ever run before, with the exception of Legless, who was left far behind in his wagon. Hello? Can someone give me a push? They drew their swords, yelling and screaming with fervor. They had bottled up since hearing of the injured comrades. They splashed onto the lamp as it fell over. All of them stood up. It was completely silent, except for the crows circling overhead, looking for fresh meat. They looked at the lamp on the field of victory. Well, that's it then, Randolph said. Good show, everybody. Good show. Atheros bowed his head in silence. May we forget those we lost in this battle. Poor Legless. I'm quite all right, a yell came from the distance. They returned to the circus. They had victory, but Atheros did not feel right. He visited the train car he and his family lived in. I wish I could see them one last time. Oh, Atheros, we were just thinking of you. Somebody broke that street lamp we hit, Ross said. How are you, darling? Ethel asked. Oh, there you are, he said with no enthusiasm whatsoever. Not bad, Atheros said. I avenged you. Oh, jolly good. So they all sat there. Nobody spoke for a while. I hear they have carp at the market, Ethel said. Oh? Ross said. Silence. What's the price? Doesn't say. Oh. Silence. Atheros got up. I need to talk slightly more. Really, Atheros, Ethel said. You talk too much. Clowns don't talk. I want to become a podcaster. Talk more and show my exciting side, Atheros retorted, very monotone. But you're a clown, dear, Ethel said. It's in your blood. I just want to perform for millions of unseen people.
Unseen people.
How will you know they're there? Ross questioned. That's the great thing. You don't, Atheros replied. And that's what I like about it. Well, you have fun, dear, Ethel said. And please, stop being such a blabbermouth. So Atheros became a podcaster. He spoke more than ever before. A full 0.0001% of the podcast is him speaking. The rest is history. I don't even...
There's some truth to that podcasting part.
Could you have like a Sikkim skill where you summon like 3 hungry hobbits? That would be overpowered.
That would be amazing.
That would be awesome.
What?
Sorry. Yeah.
Well done.
Our baby Hobbit has been very, very excited about us podcasting, haven't you?
Yeah, she's super excited.
She has created an entire podcasting setup down there, including a pom-pom, because she wants to cheer for us.
It does sound like Golden Star is about half volume of you, Merrick.
That's normal.
Yeah.
That's on purpose.
Yeah, he does it on purpose.
You're saying that like it's unplanned.
He's talking to us. We should listen.
And then we'll ask about how...
We never listen to him, so it's okay.
I'm partially listening. I know. I can answer that one.
Yeah. Merrick, if you don't listen to Golden Star according to her, then how are you going to listen to me? Just don't worry about it.
Yeah, you're pretty much...
I'm much lower on the priority list. Though sometimes you're in your own little world with your cat.
With your cat.
No, the cat's just a witness.
Oh my gosh.
Dude.
I love you and your cat, Atheros.
I don't even.
Would you say Pineleaf likes skirmishes as much as Drac hates epic battles?
More so.
Wow, I don't know about that.
Drac, I
That
don't think
should be
you've
the question
spent.
of the week.
I don't think you've spent thousands and thousands of hours thinking about ways to hate epic battles like Pineleaf has spent hours upon hours upon hours loving skirmishes. I'm pretty sure.
You, sir, would be surprised.
I highly doubt. I highly doubt that's the
Pineleaf
case.
laughs there.
That was possible. I mean, Pineleaf maxed out the mic there. I don't think that's ever happened before. That was quite the laugh.
Well, it deserved quite the laugh.
Touche.
Do you guys like start on time?
Pineleaf makes sure that we start on time.
Yeah,
With Pineleaf, we can't not start on time.
yeah, we have a pine leaf. We don't have a choice.
I would just like to say, with the amount of laughter, that I'm very glad I peed first.
Oh, that's going into blooper reel.
Because oh crap, we're still recording.
Awesome.
Ending's already clipped that out. It's done.
It's already on YouTube. There's no turning back.
You hang up first.
No, you hang up first. You. I don't want to hang up first. You hang up first.
No, you hang up first. Okay, let's hang up at the same time.
Okay,
Ready?
wait, on 3 or after 3?
Oh, I don't know. Whatever. Let's just do it.
1, 2, 5.
We need this song like I have confidence in Pineleaf.
I have confidence in Pineleaf every day that goes by.
I was thinking
He is my kind of guy with clear wine singing a song.
I was thinking more like Sound of Music instead of that sound.
I'm the king's minstrel. I'm the most qualified.
Okay.
Did you hear my more of a song? Should I sing it again?
I think we'll pass it first get started.
All right, let's get going here.
Finally, it would be something more like, oh dear.
Oh my goodness.
Very well then.
This is the best name ever for a runekeeper.
What?
Chilling Rhetoric.
Chilling Rhetoric. He's a dwarven rapper, very underground. Probably never heard of him. He's a hipster rapper.
What?
He's like one of those like spoken word poets. Chilling Rhetoric.
That was like out of nowhere.
He's like, yo, LOTRO, let's kick it. Baruch Kazan. Baruch Kazan. All right, stop. Fellowship, wait, listen. Anyway.
Then let's have a little talk with the past hosts of the show to see what they have been up to. Drac, I think you've been up to DDO players mostly.
Yeah, mostly running DDO players and, of course, keeping Players Alliance going and trying to find new shows and all of that. You may or may not know that I am the lead director of the site now. When Anding decided to step down to concentrate on his YouTube channel, he asked me and I was like, sure. So it's been interesting to say the least, but yep, that's pretty much what I've been up to, and then just trying to keep us on the air, basically.
And thank you, Drac, for doing that. We really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Without that, well, there wouldn't be a show still. Then let's go to Arathair. What have you been up to in the last couple of years?
Forgetting, just like the olden days, that I'm muted. No, I've been busy, honestly working. I'm a high school teacher, so that's been kind of nuts leading into the last few months. I've got a kid on the way at the end of the month, which is kind of exciting. And honestly, that's primarily been my life. I got a adorable pooch who has no concept that she weighs as much as she does. And yeah, just boring adulting, honestly. In terms of gaming, I've been the flakiest of all possible streamers, been very sporadic, and I kind of told people at this point, I'm like, I'll be able to stream when I can stream. And So yeah, I feel like I've dropped off the face of the planet sometimes, but it's such is life. But yeah, I've not really been up to much in terms of the creative world. I've been dabbling in a bunch of different games as time permits. But yeah, that's about it. Boring adulting.
All right, Carvette, what have you been up to?
Past few months? Well, I mean, dabbling in LOTRO just for grins and giggles, but I've also been getting really involved in Dungeons and Dragons. I was starting to get a little involved in it when...
Yay! Oh, sorry.
When I was kind of rounding out my membership here on the podcast, but we found that it's actually been a pretty effective small group tool to get some of the kids at church more involved, which is kind of funny saying D&D and church in the same sentence. But we've been running a regular game with friends and family for almost over 2 years now. And then we've got another group that I'm running every other week for a small group of the kids from the youth group. And between that and, being a dad of 3 daughters and, we've now got kids in 3 different schools. So making sure they all get where they need to be and get home. It's like video games. I can do that. I think. No, I remember those. But it's been a lot of fun. And so we've been kind of bouncing back and forth between doing some of the things on the internet as well as, hosting a lot of games at the house, really. We found that's kind of where our creative energies have gone. And with my wife, Mrs. Carve, she's actually the DM for one session, and then I'm the DM for the other session. So we take turns wearing the DM hat, which is nice.
Side note, we'll have a chat later about you guesting on another show on the channel.
Okay. Well, it's like I tried DDO, I tried Neverwinter, I tried a couple others because I wanted to kind of get a little more thematic, but the play style didn't really quite fit me. I mean, I think I was cool with the play style, but Mrs. Carve is much less of a gamer and she's more of a story motor. And most of the D&D games I've played thus far have a little bit more of the action angle to them. So it was, but we'll see. But yeah, I'll be glad to guest. I'm down. We played through Tyranny of Dragons. I'm currently working my way through Tales of the Yawning Portal. And because my wife works at a major bookseller, she's been getting a bunch of books on credit, not credit, what do you call it? Employee discount. So I've got most of the hardbacks now of all the
nice.
that's come out. So we just picked up Mordecai, and it's awesome.
I know it's so good, isn't it? I know.
I'm like, that's dangerous. I've already got a plan for that all black. I've already got a plan. I'm like, yeah. But it sparked a lot of that creativity. A lot of that stuff you saw we did for the show in terms of the commercials just kind of sparked my writing creativity. And so now I get to torment my players, and it's fun.
I forgot I've actually been doing that too. We're in the middle of the Prince of the Apocalypse, and one of our players, the largest one, naturally just got transformed into a stone petrified thing. So they got to figure out what to do with the 2,800-pound Dragonborn statue. Fun times.
All right. Maven, what have you been up to?
Well, I was just here a couple of weeks ago, and I reported some stuff, but I am still sidekick to Corey's Exploring Lord of the Rings class. It's been going for more than a year now, and let's see. I don't think we've gotten out of Bree yet.
Well, no, they just, if I recall, I haven't had a chance to hear the latest episode, but I think they just finished the chapter where they get the letter from Gandalf.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So there's that, and then I have been learning raid culture. So Glordriel joined Ploy, a raiding kin, and she's got herself all T2 geared up. She's even got swappy armor. And I actually spent like 2 or 3 hours with Chromite, having him so I've been with Ploy beating our heads against the Abyss of Mordath, and I've gotten the T2 bosses 1 and 3, but 2 is just still haven't gotten that one. So that's been interesting. Just like raid culture is very different from other aspects of the game. And then in SWTOR, in Star Wars: The Old Republic, I level capped my smuggler, and I, on Terry's advice, have rolled a Jedi Consular, and also I'm playing the dark side with Sans and Terry on an occasional basis. So I have an agent, and I'm getting to go with their Siths around the Star Wars universe. So that's pretty much what I've been doing. Other than that, it's just been real lifing, like Arthur said, adulting.
Adulting. Then let's then head into our giveaways. Drac, what's going on in there?
We are going to have a lot of giveaways over on the site to celebrate 5 years. So what we're going to do is this episode will come out Monday morning at 10 a.m. on the site. And then about 11 a.m. Eastern, there's going to be a post that goes up that is going to list all the things we're going to give away. And to enter those giveaways over on the site, we are going to use a raffle copter widget. So all I got to do is just go to the post, and in the widget will be instructions on how to enter. And we're going to give away some really good stuff, I think. We've got a bardic fiddle, a lonely mountain fiddle, a sprightly fiddle, a traveler's trusty fiddle. So those are all going to be given away, and those are going to be separate giveaways, so you can enter for each one of them. And then if the RNG is kind to you, you might win 2 of them. You might just win 1 of them. It doesn't matter. It's all going to be just a random draw. And then the 2 big things we're going to give away, the grand prize, as it were, we're going to give away a Mordor Collector's Edition.
Ooh.
And then, and all those prizes are thanks to Standing Stone Games. So I want to thank them for donating them to us. They were
stand-up guys over there.
Yeah, they are. They are great guys, and they were excited about us reaching 5 years. So they said, "Here, give this stuff away." And then thanks to
I got the joke, Carve.
Dad puns are real, man.
And then thanks to our patrons, we're also going to give away a 1,500 point code as well. So we took some of the patron money that we have, and I'm going to purchase a code for that. So all those are going to be over on the site, as I said, Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern. That post will go up. You can just follow the instructions on the widget, enter, and maybe you'll win some cool stuff. But that's not all. But wait, there is this. There's more. The patrons that we have are awesome and amazing, and we love our patrons so much, because without them, we wouldn't be able to do the show, because our patrons help pay for our hosting and the sites and all the fees associated with this podcast. So as a way to say thank you to the patrons, we're having a patron-only giveaway. So only the patrons are going to be entered into this. And actually, you don't have to do anything to enter this. If you're a patron, you're already entered. We're going to give away, let me make sure I'm going to give the right number here. 1, 2, 3. We're going to give away 4 battle-worn steeds of the White City.
Wow.
Ooh.
And there is a note that these are 1 steed per account, and this is bound to characters. So if you do win this steed, you want to make sure that you redeem it on the correct character, because it is bound to character. But yes, that is the battle-worn steed of the White City. That is for our patrons only. So if you have not gotten in touch with me, please do, because I need to know if you are a patron for LOTRO, because we do have a few patrons that are just supporting us for DDO players. So I need to know if you do play LOTRO, because obviously this code's not going to work in DDO if you're supporting us for that. So I just need to know that. But as I said, that one is patron only. So if you're a patron and you want a battle-worn steed of the White City, let me know if you play LOTRO, and I will randomly draw out of all of our patrons. And currently we have 17 right now. I can't say how many of those are supporting just for LOTRO or play LOTRO and DDO both. That's cool, because we do have a lot of patrons that play both games. So let me know.
Very well. Then, do we have any more chat room giveaways?
We do. I have a 2-pack of 100 LOTRO point codes, so that's going to be 200 points that you can get. All you need to do if you want to win that, as before, just type in, just makes sense, type in skeleton steed in the chat. And, we'll randomly draw. I had to. And then I'll announce that winner here in a little bit.
And if they actually manage to send Draken,
yeah, exactly. If you can figure out how to do that, you'd be awesome.
If you can figure out how to do that, because I'm pretty sure that those boxes are bound to account.
They are, because I've had so many people offer, like, I'll give you my pick. Oh, I can't. I'm like, yeah.
We know.
Oh, well. Then let's head into our week in... Okay. Yes, you should actually move it into that location so that...
See, you're confusing.
Putting things in parentheses means I skip them.
I
All right, well, let's go to the new player question. And very well. Ariandis, what's the new player question this week?
I am in the wrong tab. Give me 1 second. Please hold.
First, there's a highlighted bit above that for you, Pine.
Yes, I see that it's suddenly turned highlighted. They've been doing all sorts of things to bring my attention to it, despite the fact that we've been skipping this section for the last year.
We've got an addition to the show. What?
Yeah,
we're finally breaking Pine Leaf after 5 years.
Yes. LOTRO Players News is brought to us by...
You look like you've had a rough day. No? You have not been out adventuring, seeing the world, exploring Middle-earth alongside your friends? No? Oh, you must be a skirmish soldier. Well, in that case, come on in. You've found the right place at the Lonely Soldier Tavern, where you can kick back, relax, and wait for a summoning horn. And the best part, you don't pay for drinks. No, not here. Here you pay for a seat at the bar, 1 hour at a time. Try one of our signature offerings, a misplaced minion malt, or maybe an almost adventurer's ale, or my personal favorite, a lonely lager. Bring your friends, if you have any, and come on into the Lonely Soldier Tavern, where anyone can feel like a real character.
That's almost adventure ale. That's fantastic. That's gold.
Oh my god.
Okay, that was great.
I wouldn't have my microphone, but it's attached to a stand. So
that's marvelous.
Now we can have our new player question. Ariandis, how can you follow that up?
How can I follow this up? I don't think I can.
Sorry, you have been truly indoctrinated in how the show was and is.
Well, we're also getting a whole bunch of chat messages on how much they miss these. So thank you guys for pulling that up. Or coming up with that on the spot. I don't know.
That was kind of come up with on the spot while people were talking.
Yeah.
Well done.
Sounds like it would be.
That's what I was just about to ask you. I'm like, please tell me you just made that up on the spot.
Pretty much, yeah, we did.
For the most part, with some collaborative effort.
That makes it even better.
Very well. The new player question now?
I think it's been moved. I'm sorry, I'm trying to find it. There it is. Okay. I found it.
The moving player question.
Our show notes are a mess, people.
It's moving. It's going to be great. Very emotional.
The new player question for this week actually comes from the YouTube comments from our show last week. So if you guys have any questions for us, feel free to leave those on the podcast YouTube videos and we'll get to them. This one is from Tracy Height. She says, question from a new lore master. Other than cosmetics, what are the differences between all the animals and what's each critter best at doing?
Well, they're all pretty good at killing stuff. Some of them are better than others. Well, with the exception of the light bulb. The light bulb's more of a eye candy with a little bit of heels on it.
Yes.
However, each animal has its own tricks that it's really good at. The eagle's good at flanking, so is the raven. The bog lurker has a death root from range, which is really awesome. The panther, even though it has some negative publicity, is really awesome for AoE attacks on trash mobs.
And that
That's a
Lynx
saber
is the
kitty?
sneaky one.
Say what?
You mean the saber kitty?
Yeah, Saber Kitty. The Lynx is awesome because if you're a micromanager like I am, I will have my thumb buttons to call it back to me and then reset the stealth, and then I will send it out as a stealth torpedo to kill things. Awesome.
And whenever I play with my Lynx, because I am using the Lynx on my video series so that it doesn't get in the way on the screen, that Lynx, despite this little Lynx, kills things quickly and tanks for me because it's the enemy sees that Lynx coming near it. It says, "Oh, forget about the guy with the stick."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that sneak attack damage it does is quite nice right off the top.
Right.
And then you get that, oh, it's aggro, cool. And then I'll beat it with my stick or throw pine cones at it or whatever.
Right.
But each pet has its like niche that it does, and it's really good at that one or two things that it does. I personally have had a lot of fun standing up on the top of a mountainside or a wall and sending my eagle out to kill things and then summoning it back and then watching it fly out and rake some dude's eyes out. I mean, a little dark, but it's kind of fun.
Yeah. So they all have their little quirks, but they tear apart the enemies, and they all seem to be pretty good at that. I think there used to be a time when the pets weren't all really that great, but
yeah, once they introduced the
Raven
lines,
used to be really useless.
yeah, Blue Line has made it really, really, really good. And if you're getting something that's a lot of shadow damage, that Raven's got a nice shadow mitigation buff, if I remember correctly.
yeah. And of course, there is the little bit that if once you get up past a certain level, you can have the bring out the zoo skill. And
Sick'em!
Yes, Sick'em. And when you bring out Sick'em, any boss I have faced in Moria just about dies instantly.
Yeah, Sick'em's amazing.
Yeah. End of the Battle of the 21st Hall. Rip. Fastest boss fight I ever had in that. And the same thing is true when I was facing the Watcher at the end of the Drowned Treasury. You know, okay, no, Watcher. As soon as they start fighting the Watcher or they think in New Devilry and all that stuff, yeah, those bosses just torn like paper.
I will
So yes,
say,
that menagerie is great.
as a general rule for new player question type stuff, each of the animals has a tooltip, and it'll tell you it won't tell you exactly everything that it does, but it'll give you some idea. And once you summon it, you can look at all of its skills, and it'll give you a better idea of what each animal can do. The number one thing for a new player is just read all of your tooltips. Like take half an hour and just figure out what exactly everything does. It makes your life so much easier because then you realize, like, wait, I can do this with that. That's awesome.
Oh,
So most of the animals' roles you can pick up just by reading the tooltips. That's on the summoning skill. I don't know if that actually has that, but it'll tell you some of it. But it'll also tell you on its own skill bar those skills that it does. Gives you a better idea. You can also kind of get an idea just based on like if they have any buffs on them, you can like hover over those and see what they are, or on you when they're out. And when push comes to shove, you can just look it up. The LOTRO wiki's got a lot of helpful stuff on the different animals and things like that, because that's not changed in a little while, so I think.
Yeah. Now, one of the things that I do is I generally right-click the first time I summon a creature, the various skills that it has. And there might be one or two of them I don't do this for, but when a lot of the skills, I just right-click them so that the animal automatically does them rather than me manually tell them when to use the skill.
Yeah, for sure.
So it has them set for auto use. And fortunately, when you desummon them and then summon them again, the auto stays up. So it remembers that it's in the auto state.
Yeah. It's not as micromanagey, but it's handy if you just want to have your pets do their thing and they do their thing and you do your thing, and then you pet them afterwards or something.
Yeah.
I don't really play a lore master. I don't know how this works.
Pretty much. The only one I don't do that with is the Bog Lurker's bee shake thing. It's just the animation takes too long. That's a personal preference thing. You just figure out what you play about. I mean, rule of thumb: bears for tanking, raven birds are more for flanking, getting that flank bonus. Bog Lurker's ranged, and for AoE, go with Panther, Saber Cat. Sneak attack damage for its range is the Lynx. That's primarily damage dealers. The light bulb is for the off heal when you're in group.
Yep. Then let's head into another check in the chat room. And Drac, what's up now?
Fredulous, you won because you're the only one that entered, actually. So congratulations. Amazing how that works. I will DM because I follow you on Twitter, so I'll just DM you the codes. You don't even have to email. There you go.
Then let's head into our week in LOTRO. And Terry Adwin, what were you up to?
Well, this week I actually was doing a lot of adulting, so I didn't get into game a whole lot. But I did log in my Ariad Lore Master. Speaking of Lore Masters, and we've established that I'm basically the worst lore master in existence because I literally just summon the pet, and I have the attack skill dragged down to my main bar, so I just tab things and then I hit the skill for it to attack, and every once in a while I remember to click something else, but mostly I just send the pet to kill things. So yeah, she's progressed a little bit further with Volume 1. I think I'm almost done with Book 14. Which means I've only got one more book to go after that. But today she did the worst session play ever, which is the Angmarim session play, which is a session play that I really hate.
You don't like killing those slugs?
Okay, so here's the thing about killing the slugs, is you go through and you kill those slugs, but they're the same slugs that you killed when you came through on your actual player character. So if you were really cleaning out the tower, it would have been clean when you came through on your player character.
They just respawn super fast.
Apparently so.
Because the instance basically, the session play basically ends as you're assuming your player character reaches the room where you're in. So, yeah, really fast respawn on those stupid slugs. And then she did the Laredin one, which is probably the next one up from that because it's not all that great either. And she has yet to look forward to. No, she already actually sat through the lecture. I think I went and wandered off and did something else while they were talking through that. It also included the pointless trip back and forth across Rivendell to talk to the stable master because Elrond can't move himself out of the library. and what irks me about that is that the stable master doesn't actually do anything useful.
Ooh, you wanted something useful?
Elves. I guess in retrospect of doing this yet again on yet another character, and this is why I try not to do this very often. So this is why I have 25 characters, by the way, because I have to spread this out. I can't just do like Volume 1 over and over and over again. I have to do like a couple of chapters and then go do something else. Yeah, so she's currently up in Forchel doing all of the stuff that you do in Forchel. Which is leading up to one of actually the best reveals that's in Volume 1. So it's like the one reason to play Volume 1. And that's basically all I've done in game this week, because every time I load the game, I look at the time and it's like, yeah, it's really not a good time to get into anything, so I have to go to bed. So Arendis, how was your week?
Well, this week I also had to do a lot of adulting. That seems to be the theme for this episode. So the only thing that I was able to do this week was to continue leveling my baby dwarf champion. I was in a duo, and we found out the hard way that you can't use a rally horn, to summon the other player until level 15. The story is I think we were still pretty much in the Dwarven starter area around there, and the quest came up, hey, you can travel to Bree now. And so I thought, great, I have a house on one of my other characters, so I can just, port to my house and then summon from there. No, you can't. You really can't, not under level 15. So the other person in the duo had to run all the way from the Dwarven starter area to Bree. So I ported back because I think I still had a port, and we ran all the way back. So we ran the Great Dwarven Marathon this week. Corvette.
I don't think you can use a rallying horn in the starter instance, though, can you? Because it's an instanced area.
Well, I'm using the wrong terminology. We were in the actual game. It was like level 13 or so.
Yeah, once you get out of
the housing area, though, I don't think you can use it in that instance.
Yeah, the housing area, you can't use it in housing areas, right? Because
Yeah.
it's an instance.
You have to get out of the housing area.
You have to get out of your neighborhood. So if you had run out of the neighborhood to just outside, you should have been okay.
I did, though. I think I did. I was already in the middle of Bree, and then I tried, but...
Well, there might also be a level thing for the rally horn, but the other thing is, even if you're a free-to-play, fresh out of the gate, you can use the 3 core cities of Caledonian, Bree, and Thorns Hall. Those stable masters are always open and free.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
For swift travel, which makes it so nice.
Well, then I greatly apologize with the person I was duoing with.
I learned this great thing.
Hey, lesson learned.
I understand that.
Well, and speaking of that, Carv, what did you do this week?
I am leveling a captain again because, halberds. I have been looking for a while to play a character with a big old nasty polearm, and even though I tried several other games, I could not find one that really had a playstyle that I liked. So I came back to my favorite, LOTRO, and Captain, halberd, wrecking stuff. It's fun. Yelling and smashing, that seems to be the order of the day. It's the closest thing to a paladin I could find, so that's kind of what I'm doing. I am continuing with my free-to-play adventures. I now have unlocked Riders of Rohan with in-game currency. And then I saw how much Helm's Deep is, and I went, that'll take a while. Helm's Deep is still like 4,000 some odd LOTRO points. I mean, it's a lot. So that'll take a while to get to. But on top of that, I've discovered that my go-to boredom time killer is grinding LP on a minstrel so I can be productive while I'm wasting time. So that's good. That's basically it as far as Lord of the Rings go. But I think Earthart's trying to sneak in a little something because he's Earthart. He's going to do that.
Yeah. Wow. A little bit. My week in LOTRO has been remarkably unexciting. I started a hunter character a little bit ago, and I'm trying a new strategy for leveling stuff where after you do the Ered Luin deed thing, doing all the deeds in Ered Luin, I was just curious to see if it would work by only questing in a zone until you finish the quest deed. And then after that, just finishing up the deeds and moving on. And so far, so good. I'm up at 32, I think, heading into Evandene with all my deed tabs cleared up until then. So, hey, it's fun. But I actually had, I played with my mom and sister and wife all together playing LOTRO. So it's kind of fun. I got my sister into it and she got my mom into it, which is pretty great. So, cool. It's pretty fun. So yeah. Not too much excitement, but just running around 100. There was 3 hunters, and I think my mom was on a ward, and she's like, I don't get to hit anything, but I'm okay with that because it's whatever. So we just ran around, 3 of us on hunter, just pinging stuff and killing things and doing some deeds, and she was just more or less on follow enjoying herself.
Why do you mean she doesn't hit anything? She could throw javelins.
Not by the time we got to it. Like when 3 different Lobi hunters use barrage at the same time on a poor unsuspecting goblin, it just
okay, you got a point there.
Yeah. And Sanswinda, what have you been up to?
Well, besides burning through some dailies, literally burning through some dailies on my Runekeeper with my Cinders as Lore Master, which is a lot of fun. I took and gave a self-guided tour of Karn Doom to finish an exploration deed because I only needed to find 2 more points. And it looked super simple based on the coordinates I was given for these points.
Famous last word.
Karn Doom. Oh, man.
And I'm level 115, so I should have no problems with this, right? I discovered many ways to die unexpectedly. I was not killed by combat, fortunately. I would lose my reputation as a blue line hunter at 115 if I had been, I'm sure. But did you know that there are so many ways to fall into deadly water in Karn Doom?
Yes.
Oh,
that you can
we'd
die
like to
pretty
thank
much
you for your recent
anywhere.
visit to the Karn Doom Day Spa, where instant death comes at you from many angles and many ways. We will give you rest eternally.
Exactly. So, yes, the Karn Doom Day Spa is still working properly with its eternal rest on level 115 characters. And I am now the proud owner of 2 keys that I will maybe never use again on that character. But yeah, that was interesting. And I finished the deed, so that was good. And now I've got like 3 other deeds in there that I probably should go finish, but we'll see. 1 trip to the day spa a week is probably enough. Especially since I managed to not stay there permanently despite their attempts. And on the field trip, my minstrel leveled up and found herself stuck. Well, okay, it was kind of my fault that we were in the middle of red and orange mobs, but I was stuck in the middle of red and orange mobs without any armor because she hit level 76. So, yeah, and my inventory bags were suddenly full, which was really annoying too. So, I rode to Snowborn to find less treacherous armor, because I had forgotten that wearing the armor from Harndurian was actually probably a bad idea, despite how great it looks. So, yeah, that's a thing.
Oops.
If you're level 75 and you're wearing any Harndurian armor, you might want to go look for replacements before you level up. And my first thought was, oh, well, I'll just pop over to the Galtrev, go to the instance there, and get that armor. And I was like, no, that's going to be treacherous armor again, even though it's nice and it looks good. So I'm totally skipping that too, because I want non-treacherous armor. So I have some armor that was 100% better than the nothing I was wearing. And, yeah, that was interesting, riding to Snowborn without any armor. On a war steed.
Internally screaming the whole way.
Orange mobs. Yeah. Well, no,
So is
it was fun.
Is it actually called treacherous armor? Is that a new thing?
No.
Or is it the deal that, like, I remember something vaguely about because of certain kind of exploits or what have you, they nerfed it to the point where once you hit 75, your armor goes away or something.
They gave armor sets a max level, and once you pass that max level, it automatically unequips no matter where you are or what you're doing or why you were still wearing it. In my case, I was still wearing it because I hadn't gotten anything better from a quest giver.
Oh, yeah.
And it just auto-unequips. And, I mean, I guess at least you don't drop it on the ground. It goes into overflow if your inventory's full. I did learn that, so that's nice. But, yeah, that was kind of annoying. It kind of threw a hitch in the plans.
What happened? Well, I was over here beating on this crow, and all of a sudden there was a bright light, and I woke up naked.
Pretty much. I didn't even get to see it.
I swear there must be UFOs or something, because I was just over here doing my thing.
Exactly. They need a new, like, debuff under your thing. Like, there was no sad panda. There wasn't even anything cool for it. It was just no armor. So, yeah. And then I successfully ran Court of Saragast at tier 2, level 115, as the DPS person. So that was pretty awesome. I actually ran it at 115 tier 1 with another hunter, and then we found a tank for tier 2. And she got her mini. And It was challenging, but it was a lot of fun. And it was especially fun because this was the first chance I got to try to vindicate my new build, since ignominiously failing my group mates in a tier 2 run, which prompted me to make my first pieces of swap armor so that I could hopefully keep up my tactical mitigations and get enough DPS to be the proper only DPS in the group. And so it was cool to see that work and to learn a little bit more about being a better hunter and learn some more about power management, but all of that might be useless soon. We'll see. But it was fun, and I got a better rune for my bow thanks to the awesome tank who joined Nina and I. So that was pretty cool. And yeah, I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of our group. That was fun. So, Maven, how was your week?
Well, I mean, more than a week. Well, I guess this was this week. Well, more than a week. Anyway, but this last week, while listening to exploring Lord of the Rings, we were on Landerval this last week. So whenever we're on Landerval and I'm, babysitting the course, I don't go do other stuff. So this time, because I was going to try and stay awake, I always try to stay awake for the field trip. I'm not that successful at doing that because he goes so late. So, but I went ahead on my Maven, my level 75 Hobbit Hunter. I went to Angmar because that's where we are going on the field trips now, and I knew we were going to be getting close to actually Carndoom. So I ran around. It was kind of fun. I ran around the village that's right outside Carndoom, and then I went inside Carndoom, and I just killed all the things in revenge for the first time I ever went in there and died on a hunter. And I popped a deed accelerator, so I actually got all my Angrim done, and I actually got my last page for one of my books, so that was kind of cool. And then Glordrell has, I think I mentioned this, has both her swappies for her T2 build, so that's pretty cool. But until she finally scores that last boss in Abyss, she's set, and then once she does that, I can get all the set armor, or until the next update, which is then, back to square one and let's start all over again with this grind. It's like, I'm not so sure about this end-game tier 2 rating stuff. I may get tired of it pretty soon. But as a break from that, Glordrell has gone back and is filling in Lebanon, which is an area of Gondor she completely skipped over when she went through there on level. So she just got done running around with Jajax in the Haradrim camp and killing all kinds of things and stuff. So it's kind of fun, actually, to do that. And I'm just at the point now where I get to go do the instance with Ericard and pick up a trade point. So that's worth going through Lebanon. Yay! Pineleaf, how about you?
I'm trying to figure out how a level 75 character, how you managed to get to level 75 without finishing all 3 of those books.
Oh, what? All 3 of which books?
Well, you said that you finished one of your last page on one of your.
Yeah, one of my books. Yeah, well, she hasn't done Moria for one thing, so.
Okay, she skipped Moria. Okay,
yeah.
That explains it then. Now,
yep.
Then we'll begin with on Gladden, where my lore master. I finally started a Mirkwood in there, and the thing that I did this time is that normally when I do Mirkwood, where you have, during the first round of quests, you have the choice between going to the North Camp and the South Camp. Traditionally, I've always gone to the North Camp. I can't even remember if I've ever gone to the South Camp before. So this time when I was doing it, I decided, all right, let's see how it goes going to the South Camp instead of to the North Camp. So, of course, it's pretty much the same. So it does look like that getting out of the way after finishing the battle and avoiding pulling the mobs at the gate after you finish holding the gate seemed to be a little bit tougher getting out of the way. Either that or having my pet along tended to attract their attention or whatever. But I felt I had a harder time getting away than I did last time. Then on Crick Hollow, my warden there, first off, I opened up my Hobbit presents, and both presents, both the gold and the silver, were landscape soldier tokens.
They're lonely, Piney.
Yes, apparently I was getting a hint there that the soldiers are getting lonely there.
Which of all people?
Which
Piney probably
would you
uses
consider?
skirmish soldiers more than anyone else I know.
Yes, yeah, you would think that. I was thinking they're happy running skirmishes, but apparently not.
You must get the frequent flyer bonus.
Yeah. While we're running Amonsul, our Runekeeper's protector thought, oh, I see this gaunt man out on the edge of there. Let's go and grab them. So here we are. We're fighting a lieutenant and the regular mobs that are coming in and says, oh, let's bring in there. And of course, I don't find out until this gaunt man is summoning a second time in which he summoned an extra person to join him. Okay. So that, yeah. So then I eventually found out that Gauntman was there, so that switched over to him so we could kill him and get him out of the way.
Definitely on the frequent fighter program.
Yes. And then then we were fighting in Fungalhad for that one, and we were fighting against a Frigid Squall, and you know how Frigid Squalls like to jump from one person to the other? Well, in this case, the Frigid Squall decides, oh, I want to go after the elf. But of course, the Frigid Squall apparently thinks it's too large to fit through the entrance that's right at between the central and west Ballasty, and instead goes all the way around to the east entrance, then comes back, and then says, oh, maybe I don't want to attack the elf after all. Then comes back out through there, then comes back out. Eventually I decided, okay, just stand next to the elf, and as in wait for the Frigid Squall there so that it doesn't stand next to the elf and blow up my elf or anything like that. But all right. Grims, they are annoying at times. And then in the Saturday group, we headed into Northern Mirkwood. We had been using a lower level character set for quite a while and going through Moria so that Cinders could learn the story of Mirkwood, but we haven't had a chance to play the last couple weeks, so therefore they finally had a chance to catch up, and Cinders finally learned Mirkwood. So now we were able to go and start the Northern Mirkwood content since she would have been familiar with Sigalith, and we wanted to make sure she knew who Sigalith was before we did the intro into Northern Mirkwood.
Must say, in regards to your Grim there, I keep thinking this idea that, yes, in Sorcerer's Mirkwood, Grim Kaitu.
Yeah. Anyway, yes. All right. And Drac, anything you want to say concerning the anniversary before we go on?
No, just thank you for all the support. Everybody has shown the site and the podcast over the last 5 years. It's been amazing. The LOTRO community is awesome, and all of our supporters are awesome as well. So just thank you. And once again, thank you to all you guys for doing the show week in and week out, and all the work you do for the show, and keeping the show going all these years.
Then, speaking of support, we currently have 17 supporters on Patreon, and if you'd like to join this illustrious rate of players and help support LOTRO players, simply go to the donations page where you can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. There you'll find rewards, including a mention on the podcast of your choice, or even be a guest with us for an episode of LOTRO Players News. Our featured comment this week was already discussed, for that was that wonderful little question related to the Lore Master, so thank you, Tracy, for that. But we do have an email. And Drac, what does Pete say?
Sure, ask me to read this. I knew you were going to do this for some reason. I don't know why. Pete says, hello. Thanks for addressing my question last week. I hope someone knows the answer. As far as the comment, don't pay attention to the colors, you're in a raid. I counter with, how can I pay attention to the raid? Tank? What? Or should I say, what? I need to know why the mini... That was just for you, Terry. I need to know why the mini's color is red and the champ's is blue. Until recently, I only played one character total. In answer to Terry Adwin's questions, why, I'll offer that I have a busy full-time job and 4 young children. They keep me busy. However, if LOTRO had been around back when I was playing Zork in later games, like XCOM and Baldur's Gate, yay for those 2 games, I'm sure I would have every possible combination of characters across all the servers. My account does list 5 characters now. 2 of them are mine, a 115 guard and a 45 captain. 3 of my kids have characters attached to my account, ages 10, 8, and even 4. The 4-year-old plays a hobbit hunter. He just runs around the starter area shooting everything, laughing and smiling the whole way. His older sisters treat his characters and theirs too like little dress-up dolls. I've got them hooked on Token already. Thanks for the podcast and keep up the good work, Pete. And then he lists his alts there.
And if you'd like to send us an email, you can send it to podcast@lotroplayers.com. You can also follow us at Twitter, the Players Alliance @PlayersAlly, Lotro Players @LotroPlayers, Ariandus @Ariandus, Pineleaf @Pineleaf Needles, Sandwinda @Sanswinda, Terry Adwin @TerryAdwin. And you could follow our guest, Drac. Where could they contact you?
At Draculetta_72 on Twitter.
And Carvet, where could they contact you?
I'm still at Carvet LP on Twitter.
And then the Players Alliance has 4 live shows every Monday at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. We have DDO Players News. Every Saturday at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have LOTRO Players News. Every other Thursday at 9:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have XP Quest. And on the first Tuesday of each month at 9:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have Chromaticus, and that means that will be coming up this Tuesday. You can join us for our shows at lotroplayers.com/live. And that is all for tonight for this 5th anniversary show. This is Pineleaf Needles reminding you to skirmish responsibly.